Welcome. Today we're talking about baffles, specifically Vance Hines baffles. This particular fellow wants his bike to be a little bit quieter. It's too loud for him. So this is the baffle that came out. I've already removed one of them, and he wants these to go in. Okay, hopefully I can give you some information that'll help you out. All right, so the first thing you have to do is remove these tips. Okay, I've already removed that one, and this one I've already taken the screws out, but I want to show you where they are. So there's a little hole there, and it has these little screws in it right here. I'll try and focus in on that. There's another screw that holds the baffle. So you remove that screw and this should come right out. Okay, there's another screw that holds the baffle in. Maybe I can get a shot at that. Oh, there it is right there. I don't know if you can see that. I've got a glare. There we go. That you remove that, and that's what holds the baffle into the pipe. Now they can be a little bit difficult to get to, but you need the proper tools as well. Let me see if I can get this set up on something here. Okay, bear with me in my shaky video. Okay, so the proper size Allen wrench is absolutely crucial. Okay, these happen to be metric, and these are 4mm. You can see it goes in there. Let's see if we can get a little focus on that. It goes in there. There's not a lot of movement in the hole of that screw. Now, you can fit a 5/32 in there, and some folks would say, oh, that's the right one. But do you see how much movement there is on that? It's not very tight, and it might work if they're not rusty. But a lot of times I see people, they just use the wrong Allen wrench, and it ends up stripping out the head of these screws, and then you'll never get them out. You'll have to cut them out. So that is crucial, whether it is metric or standard, or whether you want to call that imperial, metric or imperial, metric or standard. Very important, especially in something like this. Okay, so we've taken all the screws out, and let's see, I've removed one of them. So you just reach in there, slide that thing right out of there. It should come right out. If it's a little rusty in there, it might give you a little bit of a difficult time, but that's pretty much it. Okay. Now, the new ones, they go in pretty tight. I have found that the tools that are needed here, or that I've used, is some anti-seize to get that lubed up, because you're not supposed to remove the plastic on here. That's supposed to stay on there when you slide these in. Sometimes this can get hung up a little bit, so it's really beneficial if you lube it up with a little bit of high temperature anti-seize. It'll work great. Also, I've got here a couple of sets of pliers to help position the baffle in that screw hole, because that can be pretty difficult if it's tight in there. And then also, if it's going in really snug, these hammers come in handy. I'm just using this rubber hammer. You don't have to use that. You can use a regular hammer, but what you tap on the end of the baffle is not the hammer. I'm using this wooden end of this hammer. So you can, let's see if I can get over here. I've already put one of them in. Okay, let's see if I can lower that down a little bit. But what I've done is I positioned that baffle as close to that hole as I could possibly get, and it was going in snug. So I put the handle of this hammer in there and just tap, tap, tap to get it to into the right distance. But you also have to make sure, you know, that your hole is lined up, and it can be a little tricky. That's about the trickiest part of this, I guess. I don't know if we can see that other one that's down there. Let's see my camera here. Where's my good angle here? Let's change my mirror. I'm not getting a good shot at that because I'm trying to do both things. It's very helpful if you have a mirror, although I seem to be having an issue finding my hole here. There it is. And you see the threads are lined up in that hole. Well, hopefully you can see that. That's what you need to be able to put that screw in. Okay, so, and that could be time consuming because they're really tiny screws and you can't really see it. If the pipes are off the bike, it's a lot easier, but that takes a lot of time and they're not off the bike. So what I'm going to do is show you how I get the baffles in, and then I'll just go ahead and put the screws in later. So what I'm doing is, bear with me, trying to get a bunch of this goop on my brush here, and this really helps, is I'm lubing this up. Because this plastic, I mean, it'll grab a hold in there in that pipe. There's carbon deposits or whatever, and it will slow it down for sure. So I'm being generous with this. Just get that front edge. And we're gonna try and look inside there to see where the screw hole is, because we want to estimate. That way we don't have a lot of movement. Okay, you can't see in that hole, I don't think. Let's see if I can get you there. Okay. Can you see that hole right there? That's where it's got to be. It's got to be lined up with that. So I'm going to estimate where that's going to be by looking at that nut that's welded in there, and we'll be really close, but we'll be able to move it. Okay, slide that in there, and these new ones, they go, it takes some doing to get them in there, you know. All right, so I'm a little off on that, so what I'm going to do is take these pliers. I'm going the edge of that nut, and I should be able to turn that by giving a little outward pressure on the pliers this way, like that. And then that one edge is catching that nut. So we're gonna feel where that hole is, and again, we're gonna estimate where that's gonna be. All right, I think that's good. Now, I'm gonna use my wooden hammer. My wooden hammer handle, and just push her in. Now we've got to go quite a ways to go in there. Checking the alignment again a little bit. I want to get it as close as I can before I even get it in there. So now this is where the other hammer comes in. I'm going to tap the end of this one on the edge of that, checking that I don't go too far. Just checking it a little bit here and there. Checking where the hole is. Okay, a little bit more, I think. Okay. That went in there pretty nice. And it's still a little bit, I think. And I'm going to guess right there. I'm going to have to move that a little bit. So again, reach in with these pliers, outward pressure on the handle, and just turn it. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. A little bit closer. I can see that hole just a little bit, so that's it. I don't want to go too far, but if I do, I can go back. Okay, now I'm going to check the distance in my mirror over here. I don't know if I got it or not. That's pretty darn close. Wait, look at that. I wish I had some focus there. That's pretty darn close, you know, for a first shot. I need to move that a little bit. I need to turn that baffle just a little bit to line up those threads. So, check that now. I gotta go. I gotta go down a little bit more. All right. So again, insert these. Turn that a little bit. I'll check it again. Nope. I gotta go a little bit more. Hopefully we didn't go too far, because we'll have to go back to look at that. Look at that. Pretty much lined up. I'm going to tap it in just a little bit to make sure that we're just catching the threads and not the pipe. So that's really good. Okay. I'm going to take my hammer handle again and my other hammer and tap. Just tap it just a little bit. Okay. Well, that looks really good. Now, if you go too far, I had another set of pliers here because I went too far with the bottom one. So what I did was, I've got these right angle pliers. They're pretty long, and I just reached in to where the nut is welded onto that baffle and get the back side of that nut, and then you can just pull it back with a little pressure on the back side of that nut. They're welded on pretty good, so you don't have to worry about breaking that off. But that's it. So now it's just putting the screws back in. I'll start with the ones in the baffle, and then I'll go to the ones on the tips themselves. But I don't think it's necessary for you to watch that. It can be a little bit tricky because, like I said, you can't see that. So it's going to take me quite some time to get those screws in, actually, because you're doing it blind. You're reaching around from here. You can't get a good visual anywhere you are. So you're pretty much doing it blind from the outside. I will say this: just make sure that they thread in easily. You don't want to cross thread it, because if you ever have to take them out again, you want to be able to. Okay, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put a little bit of that anti-seize on these screws, but you have to make sure that they're torqued properly so they don't vibrate out. Well, all right. I hope that was helpful to somebody. And if this is your first time here, please like and subscribe. Also, like and follow us on Facebook. We really do appreciate those things. We appreciate everybody that comes back and watches another one of these videos. I am by no means a professional videographer, so I hope it's good enough for you. I hope everyone has a great day, and as always, ride your bike.
Come on, baby, let's go. I got the top down. We're gonna cruise the strip of snow. We're running out of sound. Come on and come with me. Ride shotgun. shotgun.